Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. Today we will be doing the tin flute. Um, have you read this tin flute?
Sir,
So not
just
really.
not
I
really.
only vaguely know a bit about the this thing. Didn't have time to read, sir. Sorry.
Okay, okay. I will just let me see if I can get a review of this book, of this novel. Or no. Shit. Okay, so coming to the tin flute, this we will be talking about the author Gabriele Roy. Gabriele Roy has written this novel, The Tin Flute, in 1947, which this was actually written in French, originally in French, and then it has been translated, and this talks about um, uh, you know. It talks about what Quebec stands for, within Canada, and of what gives a distinct identity to its literature, especially after Quebec has made the shift from rural to an industrial and urban society. It's about that particular place. So uh, Quebec is, as you know, that it is Canada's one of the largest province, and a vast territory, three times of the size of France. And you see, in this Quebec, French was one of the important language, and you find the name Quebec or Quebec, came originally from the word Quebec, that's which means that where the river narrows, and is also the this is called the heart of French Canada. And you find majority of the people there in Quebec speak French. So this place is at the odd with the rest of the English speaking Canada, and there, as I said, they speak French, and the French dominate this province. So you find at the time of European exploration, the region along the St. Lawrence River from Ontario to Quebec City was controlled by the Mohawks of the Iroquois uh, people of the north. And um, farther north lived in the Crees and beyond the Eskimo, and the Inuit peoples, and then You find in the southern portion of the peninsula, Gaspe Peninsula, the Mimac were found throughout, Atlantic Canada. So talking about the the geographical, distribution of people. So um, French, explorers, they landed in Quebec City and Montreal in 1534, and uh, Champlain, also of the France, first heard and recorded the word Quebec when he founded a settlement of Quebec City uh, some 70 years later in 1608. Otherwise, before Quebec City was named, before Quebec City, it was called um, Stadena. Okay, so am I clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, could you please repeat the previous name of Quebec?
It is Stadena. Stadeiona. Stadeona.
Yes, sir. STA. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sridevi, are you getting me?
Yes, sir. I have physical book in front of me, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah. And Jassia?
Yes, so I can follow you. I too
Oh,
have book.
okay, okay. Yeah. So, so you find, you know, uh, so when you're, attempting the answer, try to write about the author and a little bit of the history, how the Quebec city came into existence when you're writing an answer. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you find in the early and the middle portion of the 20th century, you find Quebec, changed from rural place to an urban place where, industries were there, and educational institutes were there. Culture was given importance, and this, but they still relied upon the Catholic Church, because most of the population there were Roman Catholics. And uh, later you find that there were lot of there was a provincial government in 1994, and there was separation in 2002, the issue of separation, um, which talked about, which had a little bit, confusion about the um social responsibility. And then you can see some of the then you find um, okay. One of the interesting feature of today's Quebec life needs to be noted here, that says that that is the word "G me souvens," which means I remember. And "G me souvens" was first, added to the provincial coats of arms in 1883, and there was author Eugene Taché, who was the architect of Quebec City's Parliament building, who intended it to be, prolonged to the memory of people and its hardship. And of course, you find it can be, interpreted in various ways, but most, agree that the phrase offers a permanent recognition, and it talks about the marginalized status of the Quebec French citizens, and who have been, victimized by the colonization policies and denied, nationhood. So you find these people were the these people were the what do you say? Um, these people were the minority people. Just a minute, just hold on. Yeah. So sorry. Okay. Yeah. So you find, then. There was some cubic writing during that time, and you find because, there was industrialization and urbanization of Quebec, and it had then this, urbanization and industrialization had effect in on Quebec fiction, and the urban social realism and the other, things which were there were treated, as uh, had a tilt towards the industrial conflict. And the second trend was preceded by the first. You find the tin flute, this um, the tin flute novel, you find belongs to the first trend. So the first trend, and you find during the Second World War was, drawing close, and young writers were also, you know mm, shown up. Um, in Cubic, and this turned, the Cubic novel towards the teeming working class area of these two cities. And one such remarkable work was Roger's work, which was translated in 1948 as The Town Below. Um the Tin Flute, which is written by Roy. Uh, okay, I'll tell you that later when I tell you about the structure and everything. So then you find there were many people who criticized the different writing forms of you know that period, and those people who were writing, they were also criticized. And uh, naturalism was one of the uh, facts which you find in uh, cubic writing. So in the international trend, it was understood that in order to understand Roy's the tin flute better is naturalism. So anyone who can tell what is naturalism?
Sir, like realism.
Yes, yes. Naturalism is it talks about um, the scientific process, the observations of in the fiction. So it is basically a literary movement, and this literary movement was started during the 19th century. And it focused on the settings, the, the object the objectivism, the detachment, the pessimism, the determinism, all these, and there were many naturalists who were writing, like William Faulkner, and then John Steinbeck, Henry James. All these people were naturalists, and mostly, um, it talks about the reality, which contains no supernatural entities. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see Kajal today coming. Kajal, are you there in the group? Hello, Kajal. French people join and they leave. Okay. Anyways, so you find naturalism was developed of realism, and you find the naturalists believed that novel should be, based on scientific knowledge and objectivity, which should be of the prime value. So environment, shared the be exactly, treated, and character should be, related to the physiological heredity. Can you tell me what is physiological heredity, Sridevi? Physiological heredity.
Um, Something which we inherit in a physical form. Is it? Is that the lit- literary meaning, sir?
Um, okay.
Anything that is inherited in the physical way of or
Yeah. Yes.
like essays, even mental, intellectual
Yeah.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
traits and those things. So far, like whatever we have it in us, that's what we call even genetics, I guess, genes.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Okay. So, all this, found, uh, an echo in the poetry, and one remarkable, poet was Corderay. Emily Corderay, who focused on the wretched misery of the
Sir,
urban poor. Yes.
have a doubt.
Mm.
Uh, is it naturalism talks about reality which contains supernatural entity? Is it like that?
Which one? Which one? Sorry.
Naturalism talks about the reality which contains supernatural entities. Is it
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Then you have
The whole,
earlier said no. It is through scientific process and objectivity.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
scientific process and supernatural entities are two different thing. No, like supernatural are not the scientific. So I didn't get that.
No, 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 no. What you didn't get? Sorry, what?
Like supernatural entities are more of like um, we we which are not really existing, no. But scientific are more of like uh, they are proven through lot of uh, how can I say that? Like scientific process have a truth, no. But when we consider supernatural entities, it is more of like uh, imaginations and all. So they have some two different meaning.
No, I said that naturalism, when I'm talking about this talks, it holds that reality, this reality does not contain any supernatural entities.
Okay, okay.
So, what did
Maybe
you understand?
uh, I heard it like it talks about reality which contains.
No, no, yeah, I said which holds that reality contains no supernatural entities.
Okay, okay. That was my mistake.
Yeah, that is what I was trying to, I was not getting like how supernatural entities we can relate to naturalists, those who were talk based on scientific knowledge.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Am I clear? Sridevi and Supriya, are you clear?
Yes, sir, very much. Actually, keep reading about this naturalism. It's like so difficult to explain, but thoda sa like after reading the works, it's very realism and naturalism are pretty easier to understand, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are which, the methodical naturalism, which holds that philosophical inquiry should be, consistent with the scientific method. There are like the ontological naturalism, the ontological naturalism, the one I said, like, the reality which contains no supernatural entities. The methodical naturalism holds the philosophical inquiry, which should be, consistent with scientific methods. And the moral naturalism, uh, this is typically which holds that there are, moral facts. Am I clear?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Why do I see so many new people today? Farida, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Farida, are you there in the group?
Yes, sir, I am. And
Oh,
this is my first session.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay,
Sorry.
so is this time comfortable for you? I see many people joining in this time.
So I'm working. So yeah, I just logged in.
Okay, so
When
this
I
time is
returned.
comfortable for you people.
For me, yes. I don't know about
Okay,
others.
okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So we too can have like I don't know about the rest, but I can also say 8 to 10, 8 to 9:30.
Eh, No,
I don't
usually,
mind.
this time they have done 6 to 8, but usually it was like 8 to 10, because most of them are working. That
Yes,
is
sir.
why
Yes,
six
sir.
to 6 o'clock. Sometimes people are traveling and coming back from their office and they join.
And also, sir, lots of internet connectivity issues
Yeah,
happen when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
traveling.
Correct, correct, correct. I will talk to RC this time when they schedule the next, classes, online classes. I'll tell them to schedule it at 8 to 10, because we usually, before this session, we had from 8 to 10. I don't know. Probably people might have requested for 6 to 8. That is why they have given 6 to 8. Anyways, um, yeah. So I was talking about this, and then um, a very important question can be naturalism, and how naturalism is linked with realism. Okay, so please read a little bit of this naturalism in the cubic writing, so that you can relate to, like, if a question comes like this, then you can answer. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Getting
sir.
it.
Okay. uh, Coming to the author, Gabriel Leroy, you find, okay, I'll give you a brief introduction about. Yeah. So you find Gabriel Leroy was a French Canadian, novelist, and she was born March 25th, 1909, at Saint Boniface in Canada, and died in July 13th, 1983, at Quebec. So she was praised for her skills in depicting the hopes and frustrations of the poor. This is very important. You must, you know, note down, um, or you can just scribble what I'm saying. And you find, talking about her life, Roy, taught school in uh, Manitoba for a time, and studied drama in Europe. And then she returned to Canada, settling in Montreal, where she worked as a journalist. She was initially a journalist. And you find her studies of poetry stricken, working class people in the cities, include, 1945 published The Tin Flute. Then in 1954, The Cashier. And some of her novels are, where Nests the Water Hen in 1950. And in 1955, Street of the Riches, which deals with isolated rural life in Manitoba. And she also wrote a book of semi autobiographical stories, that is in 1966. uh, Sorry. Yeah. And yeah, semi-autobiographical stories, and you find that this is the 19 published. This was published in 1966. The road past Altamont. Okay, and a novel which based on her experience as a school teacher, which was published in 1977, and the novel was Children of My Heart. So, an autobiography, Enchantment and Sorrow, was, published after she died. And this was published in 1984. So, mm, okay, so I'm just thinking, should I tell you about. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. The second unit, if you see, deals with the writer's contribution towards the French Canadian literature. And you find Quebec has a very special place in the overall Canadian political setup, and Roy has, a special place within this Canadian fiction. So the authors like Margaret Atwood, Margaret Lawrence's, Crochstrick, uh, then Coral Shields, Michael Ontadji, all these are taken, to be leading Canadian novelists. And then there is Richler, who though from was from Quebec, wrote in English, and the contribution to the Canadian fiction of all these novelists is substantial. So Roy wrote in French, as I said, and is a good novelist of any of these known Canadian novelists. And in her kind of writing, she is the best because she is the best realist naturalist novelist from Canada, whose original writing was in French. Okay, so and you know, for her, she was more about she was more focusing about the social concerns, and the social concern was more focused, that she wanted to show, and her commitment to the vocation of the artist is going thorough going. And you find Joyce, in some ways she is Joyce and Dickens combined in one. So you find she was more involved into journalism. That is why she had to travel a lot, and there she could understand the ugly aspect of life. And you find Roy's photographic realism ensured that every figure in the picture did get its proper name. uh, and you find she was a realist par excellence, and she was a naturalist also par excellence, and she is a wonderful short story writer too, and is that domain that what comes through unmistakably is her concern with the plight of the immigrants. So, in short, we can say that Roy is an artist who goes all the way, both in recording her times and surroundings and in reacting to them. Clear. So, her contribution, or you can say, uh, she was the Quebec's voice in the Canadian, literature, and her representation of the socio-economic condition, is a product which uh, is reflected in her short stories and novels. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So Roy's fiction is a part of the larger social system, because a system which is a network of social relationship. And Roy, begins from the French origin, was always aware of that, this fact that the French Canadian had never enjoyed a freedom and lived a free life in their own country. But the root of the French Canadian nationalism lie deep in the minority complex, and therefore you find it's mainly a domestic origin. Okay. So you find on her return to Canada before the war in 1939, Roy chose, despite the pull of home, to settle in Montreal, as I have already told you. So you find, um, in the uh, text in the novel, um, Roy understanding of nature of the poverty is the chief irony and the central perception in this novel, The Tin Flute. And Manitoba passed a law in 1890 that abolished public funding for Catholic schools, and forbade, the use of French language for the instruction in schools. So to support, alternative French language schools for their children, Franco-Manitobans, began taxing themselves, funding. So and by then, those painful ironies that history often, repeats, as Roy talks about it in her autobiography, and also assumes their, own poverty. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then we have the text. Yeah. Okay. So coming to the, so the Tin Flute is a translation work. So, and this is basically translated as the Tin Flute from its original, writing of French. And you see, the chapters are very unified in several different ways. Some talks about the play, some talks about the reader's survey, that thoughts of, several different characters which gathered together by, uh, just a minute. Hello. Huh? Good evening. ନା କେତେବେଳେ ପଠେଇଛୁ? ତ ମାନେ କାଲି ଅଛି your presentation and you're sending right now. How will I check and how will I send? କହୁନା ଯାହା କରିଛୁ let it be points I'll ମୁଁ ରାତିରେ ଦେଖିକି କହିବି hello hello
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, I was talking about uh, the structure. You see, the chapters, as I said, they are unified in several different ways. Um, some talks about the plays, some talks about the reader survey that thoughts of the several different characters which are gathered together, and um, by pointing out point of the, by uh, the point of view of the narrator, and as he or she follows an individual from place to place, and by a process of transfer, as the reader shifts from one center of consciousness to another, after two characters have met. So the characters do possess their district in a sense, and it talks about it can be also seen as an extension of home, but the situation is double edged. So you find the ironic glimpse of the prosperous Westmount. The novel, and never leaves the district. um, and then you find this novel is divided into two parts. The first is where uh, Florentine and Jean Levesque figure more, and the second is where Rose and Anna, Florentine and Emmanuel, Emmanuel figure more. So there are two parts, and the story develops on a threefold level. That is, one is individual, second is social, and the third one is global. So you find at the first level, the center is Florentina, Florentine. At the second level, Rose and Anna is foregrounded, and at the third level, the effect of the World War takes over. So there are 33 chapters. Okay, okay. So all the chapters. I'll just tell you the chapters. The chapters, you find the chapter one shows Florentine, at work, and chapter 2 talks about Jean Levesque at work. In chapter 3, Azarias and Jean discussion about the war, and you find in chapter 4 talks about the introduces Emmanuel into the story at Philibert's restaurant, and chapter 5 talks about describes the um, Lacasse home on Beaudien Street, and Eugene tells his mother Rose Anna about having joined the army. Chapter 6, Jean and Florentine have their first proper brush with each other, and Florentine realizes that her mother is with child again. Later, we see chapter 7 shows Rose, Anna, and Azarias together. And then in chapter 8, we find Florentine, Jean, and Emmanuel are shown together. Emmanuel invites Florentine to a party at his place. And in chapter 9, it talks about Rose Anna at Florentine's workplace. So, at the start of this chapter, it is said Florentine, stared amazed to see her mother there, and she realized that her first feeling had been one of the relief that she hadn't come earlier because Jean and Emmanuel left. And but she regretted this thought so sincerely that she leaned over the counter and called out to her mother with an effort to be jolly. Later in chapter 10, you find the party at Emmanuel's workplace. A home is described, and in chapter 11, it talks about Emmanuel and Florentine, getting together. Then in chapter 12, uh, the two record restaurants run by Sam Latter and his wife Anita is being described in this chapter, and Azarius makes an appearance there, and the novelist, gives us an analysis of the Azarius character and his general recklessness. So, chapter 13 shows mother and daughter together at home, and in chapter 14, Florentine and Jean, meet where she goes to St. James Street, where Jean, work, and she expresses her love for him. So, his initial response is one of the is very discouraging, and later in chapter 15, the Lacasse family visit the countryside, and this visit is quite important for Rose and Anna. And chapter 16, Jean and Florentine are the Florentine's home on Beodian Street, and they make love, and this leads to her becoming pregnant. And you find in this chapter the novelist gives us an analysis regarding Jean's character. Okay, so because he um, because Florentine becomes pregnant, because of Jean. So later in chapter 17, Jean, pondering his relationship with Florentine, and then the next chapter 18 focuses largely on Rose and Anna. Daniel's illness is also, brought in, and she thinks for another children also. Then chapter 19 gives us Rose Anna's reaction to Germany's role in the war, and there is also a scene between her and Eugene. And oh, here the author talks about Rose and Anna. Rose Anna, hated the German more than war itself, and this troubled her because she has never hated anyone in her life. Later in chapter 20, we are at Sam Latour's bar, and here you find Eugene figures in chapter 20. One brings the focus back to Florentine, and she feels isolated, and Jean's having left abruptly gives her a sense of being lost. And later in 20 chapter 22, Florentine is at her home, and there is a small scene showing her and her mother together. And in chapter 23, Florentine leaves her home and goes to Margaret. So leaves home and goes to Marguerite, and she also, makes her peace with her new situation in which, Jean does not figure much, and we find that we are told that in her heart the need to live in spite of everything found its existence in a very stubborn way. So then, chapter 24 talks about Lacasse's whole households shifting, and in chapter 25 tells about Emmanuel's and how he feels in Saint Henry. He also visits the Lacasse's home. So in chapter 26, we are given the scene at the Two Records restaurant, and there Emmanuel talks of two, Azarius. And in chapter 27, Emmanuel is shown in the company of his friends. In chapter 28, we are given Emmanuel's stream of thoughts as he takes, a walk, and the chapter closed with the, with following lives about Emmanuel. Then, chapter 29, Florentine and Emmanuel are shown together, and they also dance together. In chapter 30, Rosanna and Florentine have a scene together, and it is in this chapter that uh, Giovanni and Daniel are taken away from Rosanna, and the later, you find the okay, Rosanna is found to be dead. So, chapter 31 and 32 focuses on Rosanna, and chapter 33 concludes the novel. So here the author gives some idea about what war was, doing to the lives of people of Saint Henry. And you find structurally one part of this novel is oriented more towards Florentine, and other is more towards Rosanna oriented. So you find Jean is absent from the part in which Emmanuel makes his presence felt. Have you got a brief idea about the structure of the novel?
Sir, it's a very understandable story. I mean, though very lengthy, but yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So you find that it talks about war. Mm, just a minute. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So what I would uh, tell you, which is important, is the poverty and what that in you know tin flute. Can one of you uh, illustrate about how poverty was shown? Sorry, I can't hear Farida. It's very disturbing. There's some sound, background noise.
Hear me now, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's okay. Yeah.
So they move houses very often because they're very poor and they need to keep moving to smaller and smaller houses. And
Yeah.
I recall this one particular instance when they move in the night with all their belongings piled on top of each other.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
one such example of poverty that I recall.
So you can also talk about how Jean leaves Florentine for being too poor for his taste, but there is a more uh, you find a part which what makes Emmanuel a good option in the end. In is that he doesn't care about Florentine's station in life, because he knows that he can take care of her. And then there you find the that Jean's character, which he is planning to get very richly by exploiting the needs for machinery because of the war. War was one of the part of poverty and judgment, and he is is set up to profit from the economic instability of his community. So which might help, which can explain his aversion of to poor people. Clear?
Yes, sir.
uh, we also see the uh, societal disturbance as one of the, don't we? The societal um, um, what you can say, stored societal variability. First there was a war in Europe, and then unlike the Americans of this time, many French Canadian in the novel still feel attached to the European homelands. So this war represents a very serious threat to the society. So there is the economic instability of the oppression of the working class people, and that is very undeniable part of the book, especially which is given the drama between young Florentine and her boyfriend Jean. So when Jean finds out that Florentine is secretly poor, he has sex with her and then leaves, because Florentine now becomes pregnant. And not just the house either, he leaves town, never to be heard from again. And this is a picture of social division due to the economic class. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So important character sketch can be Florentine, can be Jean. Two important character sketch. Am I clear?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, so what is? How will you justify the title, the tin flute? Tin flute, is a um, is a symbolism. It represents the character of the novel not being given what they want. Just as Rose Anna wants to buy the toy for her son, who would surely like to have it but can't. The symbol captures what each character feels, like Daniel, who wants a normal life without cancer, but or like his mother, who just want a nice quiet life in the country, or like for Florentine, who wants to fall in love. And although they don't get what they want, they all get a better life in some way. And Florentine will be given a healthier life with more opportunity. uh, Azarius gets his new job in the army, and Daniel also gets to stay in a hospital where he feels much happier than when he is at home. So this justifies the title. Clear? So who is the
Yes,
protagonist?
sir, Florentine and Florentine, we can say
Yeah,
the girl, young girl.
Florentine. Yes, Florentine is the protagonist. And what is the major, conflict that you see in this novel? The major conflict that you see, I told you.
Sir, poverty.
Yes, poverty. And how will you prove that? Suppose if it is said poverty, then how will you prove that?
Sir, because of poverty, everyone in this character in this novel actually lost something.
Yeah, some thing or the other is happening, but what is the focus conflict which comes in this novel? Jean and Florentine's relationship. Jean takes the advantage of having sex with Florentine and making her pregnant, and then he leaves her because, and what is the reason? Because she comes from a low income family. Okay, am I clear? Hello,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sridevi.
Yes, sir.
Is the story very difficult?
Rather than difficult, since we read with you, it's we are still in the processing time, because
Oh,
it's like it's 33 chapters. We just read the gist. Nothing is difficult, sir. It's only bit, as I said,
yeah.
little bit long, and also the characters and the connection and the relation and this plot. It's taking time to sink in. That's it.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. So okay, so you find Jane and Florentine's relationship. You find Jane has ditched, leaves Florentine. So this you find as a conflict. But what is the climax? The
So,
climax. Yes.
Emmanuel accepting Florentine and Florentine making peace with, um, not getting to marry Jean, but the plan B.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Okay. So I would like to tell you that all of you, please go through the text, and um, and I would suggest you to attend this question. You shouldn't leave this novel question. Out of the 8 questions, you shouldn't leave surfacing. These are basically mark fetching. These questions are more mark. You can score more marks than the other units blocks.
Yes, sir.
So shall we end the class here today?
Yes, sir. And tomorrow also, will you take the same time or evening time, sir?
No, tomorrow I can take in the evening.
Oh, okay, your that thing is resolved, like you said.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes,
okay, okay.
yes.
So
Uh,
you're assuming to that 6 to 8, right, sir?
yeah, 6 to 8.
Sir,
But okay, yeah. Saturday and Sunday, you don't have a class. Okay.
okay,
Uh,
Yes,
as
sir.
per as per the schedule, you don't have a class. But what I was thinking is, you come for the class Saturday Sunday, because I wanted to finish it by Monday.
the entire chapter, sir, all the blocks together, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Because Saturday Sunday you don't have. You have next on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay.
So what I will do is, instead of doing Tuesday and Wednesday, I will do it Saturday Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday. Okay, sir. Sure. What
Yeah. No, no.
time and all you'll be
Yeah,
able to?
listen, timing. Saturday we can keep it sometime in the evening. But Sunday, if you want, I can do it in the morning sometime, or whatever, like whatever time is okay with all of you. Because see, when from Wednesday onwards I will not be available. That is why.
Okay, 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 sir. But still, sir, in case like exam towards exams, we can still be in touch in case any issues, like as we spoke earlier, also we can
Mhm.
still get back to you on the WhatsApp or something, just in any doubt and all. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You complete after I complete the class. uh, Suppose you have some doubts, you first finish all the blocks. You
Yes,
have
sir.
some doubts, you accumulate everything, and then you let me know, so that what I then I can do a Google Meet class, 1 2 class I can do, where we
Oh,
can.
that will be great, sir. Really great. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That will be better.
Yes, sir. That will be very helpful for us.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, then, so we can end the class for today.
Sir, just one. Will we be doing the further reading of the same tin flute, or we'll start with
No, no, we'll
something?
go to the next unit.
So
Yeah.
in that case, just one small thing, like one of the recent papers says,
Mhm.
Gabriel Roy very realistically presents the lives of the people of Quebec in a novel.
Yeah.
It's like general, like what we just now read about Quebec.
Correct. So
That
you have
part,
to talk about, first you have to introduce about Quebec,
yes, sir.
and then you have to say, how this
Tin, yeah, yes,
French people,
uh-huh.
how they were, these French Canadian,
Sir.
how they were, treated, and how they came into the mainstream, and so and then you talk about how how she started writing. Okay,
Yes, sir.
the societal impact, and the uh, and seeing what she has written is what she has experienced, what she is experiencing around her. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Getting it.
Okay.
Sir. Fine, sir. Then fifth one is, I think, English Patient. That
Yeah, the next, I think that's another novel, English Patient. So we'll do it tomorrow.
sure,
Okay.
sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so
Good
much,
night.
sir. Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.